Yes, so the recording has started. So I have shared with you already the scanned scanned pages of chapter 1 and 2 from the book that I am following. Okay. So the name of the book if you wish to get a copy of that book, so yeah. So if you wish to get a copy of that book, I'm just giving the name. So can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is plus 8 plus 9 plus 10. So the name of the book is textbook, Macroeconomics, a global text. Okay, so the author is Sampath Mukherjee. Okay, and the publisher is New Central Book Agency, NCB. Okay, so this is the textbook I am following, and from here I have already covered chapter 1 and chapter 2. So chapter 1 basically is introduction, and chapter 2 is with respect to circular flow of income and national income accounting. So end of the chapter questions from chapter 2. Open the scanned PDF that I have sent. End of the chapter 2 assignments. Okay. So this is page 60 of the book. So open the chapter that I have shared, scanned chapter 2. So the first question is, how is the circular flow of income measured? So I think you can answer this question. How is the circular flow of income measured? Yes or no? How is the circular flow of income measured?
Sir, is it money?
Money? What money?
Like with the help of money, we can measure the circular flow of income.
What did I then discuss about circular flow of income in the class? Did you study properly? I have also shared the chapter. I have shared the board work. I have shared, uploaded the links to the video recordings. See, now there should not be any excuse to this, because now every material is with you. Books, board work, YouTube videos, everything. So if you're not giving me such an answer, that is unfortunate. Peter, how is circular flow of income measured?
So is it the one which you give that household and the business from one?
Yes, household and business firms, the diagram. So you have to explain the diagram. So there are three different,
They're like,
there are three different methods of measurement of national income. Value added method, income method, and then comes the expenditure
expenditure.
method. So using the diagrammatic A, you can show all the you can show the equivalence between all these three methods of measuring national income using the two-sector economy, closed economy without government. Okay. So two-sector economy, two-sector closed economy without government. Okay. Now the next question. Present a simple two-sector model of economy without SNI. With SNI, how will the model be affected if we incorporate the government and the external sector in our analysis? So this was also being described. This simple two-sector circular model with SI and without SI. With SNI and without SNI, then we extend the model by incorporating government in the first place, and next open sector, that means where foreign trade is happening in the fourth model. So this is how you do it. And this is question number 2. So question 1, question 2 done. Now question 3. What will be the effect of the following on India's national income? Question 3. So question 3A, they are saying Mr. A receives a cash gift of 10,000 rupees. Mr. A receives cash gift of 10,000 INR. Okay. From his father. Who is a resident of India. Okay. So what will happen to India's GDP or GNP? What will happen when Mr. A receives a gift of 10,000 rupees from his father who is a resident of India? What will happen to India's GDP or GNP? Vivanda, what will there be any change to India's GDP or GNP? What? What will happen? Tridit?
Sir, the second one can bring a change to India's national income because non-resident and he is receiving $2,000 from a
So in
non-resident.
receiving in exchange of what? Any goods and services produced?
No,
Is it a supply of factor of production?
no, sir.
Then why it should be added to
Sir,
India's
but
GDP, GNP?
oh, okay. But sir, here it is written national income, so NFI, FA
National
can be
income for what? What is the definition of any national income? GDP or GNP?
the same only.
Hmm? So what should it be? Uh, hmm? So in case of both A and B, there is no change in India's national income. Case C, Mr. C sells shares in a stock exchange and makes a capital gain of 5 lakh rupees, from which he pays a broker commission of rupees 25,000. So what will happen to India's GDP, national income in case of part C of the problem? Mr. C sells shares in a stock exchange, makes a capital gain of 5 lakh rupees, from which broker's commission of 25,000 rupees is being paid. So what will happen to India's GNP or GDP? Peter,
Yes, sir.
what will happen to India's national
Sir, my
income?
network is very bad, so I can't even open the PDF file right now. The questions.
No, I'm telling you the question. You answer me. Mr. C sells shares in the stock exchange, makes a capital gain of 5 lakh rupees, from which he pays broker commission of 25,000 rupees. What will happen to India's national income? Pribanda? Huh? What will happen to India's national income? What is the definition of GDP or GNP? Can someone tell me what is the definition of GDP or GNP? What is the definition of GDP or GNP? Peter? What is the definition of GDP or GNP? What is the definition of GDP or GNP? Tell me.
Sir.
Yeah, what is the definition of GDP or GNP?
So is my voice audible?
Yeah, your voice is audible. Carry on.
So like the value of goods and services which is produced in an economy in a given period of time is the gross domestic product, GDP.
Okay. Now, look at this question. Mr. C sells shares in a stock exchange, makes a capital gain of 5 lakh rupees, from which the broker's commission of 25,000 rupees is being paid. Yes, Chari, what makes you smile? Good morning.
So sorry, So I was trying the other link for those words.
Okay. So what will be added to India's national income? Tridit, what will be added to India's national income?
Sir, I think the option D is aggregate inventories of Indian
Hey,
companies.
Baba, you tell me from C, what will be added to India's national income? Mr. C sells shares in the stock market, makes a profit of 5 lakh rupees. From the profit, he pays broker a commission of 25,000 rupees.
Sir, the broker's commission, please.
Yes, that will be added to India's GDP and as well as GNP. Next, aggregate inventories of Indian companies go down by 2 crores in the current year. What will happen to India's GDP or GNP? So, GDP is nothing but what? C plus I plus G plus X minus M. So, I is what? I is nothing but planned investment. So, planned investment plus change in inventories. Okay. So change in inventory. So this change in inventory can be, delta can be greater than 0. That means there is addition to the existing stock of finished products or raw materials in the warehouse. It can be equal to 0. That means there is no change in the stock of products, or it can be less than 0. So in this case, what is happening in case of D? Inventory is going down by 2 crore rupees. So in this case, what will happen to the investment component? Suraj, what will happen to the investment component?
It will go down, sir.
That means my GDP or GNP will
Go down.
also go down by 2 crores. Number E, Mr. D receives a dividend of 1,500 from an American multinational corporation. What will happen to India's national income? What will happen to India's national income?
Sir, it will increase.
Yes, very good. So that brings us to the end of question 3. Question 4. How are saving and investment treated in national income accounts? In this context, draw a distinction between saving investment equality and saving investment equilibrium. Okay. So here you will have to discuss about planned savings versus actual savings. Okay. And planned investment versus actual investment. So identity means what? Identity means that they will always be satisfied. That means actual savings will always be equal to actual investment. So identity means it will be satisfied at all levels of savings and investment. Whereas equilibrium, just like your market equilibrium, it will be satisfied only at a particular or a unique level of saving and investment. So you'll have to keep these points in mind when you write your answer or elaborate your answer. Okay. Page 3. Question 5. We know that savers and investors are two. So here I am, people have joined later. Here I am discussing the end of the chapter questions from chapter 2, that is circular flow of income and national income accounting. So in the book, I have also told about the book. So this is page 60 of the book. So just tally with the scanned document that I've sent for chapter 2. Okay. So question 5. We know that savers and investors are two different groups of people. Can you think of a person who is saving and investing at the same time? Can you think of a person or individual who is both a saver and an investor at the same point of time? Can you give an example? Any examples, students?
Sir, farmer.
Yes. Farmer is an example whereby they are saving and investing at the same point of time. So farmer saves. So that savings of farmer is known as surplus after meeting his subsistence needs. So he sells the surplus in the market, generates income. So out of a part of surplus, is invested back as working capital for next season of farming. Okay. Question 6. When does the budget of the government show a deficit? How does a budget deficit affect the circular flow of income? So what was the equation in the presence of government expenditure method? National income identity C plus I plus G. Using the expenditure method and using the income method, C plus S plus T. So both are equal. So what we write? C plus I plus G equal to C plus S plus T. So C and C cancel each other out. So we are left with what? I plus G equal to S plus T. Okay. So now we rearrange the terms on both the sides. So here we bring T to the left side, G minus T, and we bring I to the right side, S minus I. Okay. So what does this mean? So what is G minus T? G minus T is excess of government spending over net taxes collected, which is nothing but your budget deficit. And what is S minus I? S minus I is net of savings over investment. Sorry, savings net of investment So when there is a budget deficit, how is it being financed? According to the circular flow of income, it is financed by the excess of savings that is left after the investment has been done. So this is how, so budget deficit. So budget deficit is nothing but it is an excess of expenditure over the net taxes collected by the government. So this is some sort of an injection to the circular flow. But you have to balance the excess pressure. You have to balance the excess pressure, the expansionary pressure, as well as the deflationary pressure on the circular flow of income. So that means the savings net of investment is what? This is the leakage from the circular flow of income. Okay. So this is a budget deficit. It is nothing but injection because it is creating what? It is creating an expansionary pressure because it is increasing the expenditure, but that needs to be balanced. So then there is a leakage from the circular flow of income. So this is nothing but a deflationary pressure or contractionary pressure. Okay. So when does the government budget shows a deficit? Government budget shows a deficit only when its expenditure, that is G component, is greater than the net taxes component. And how does the budget affect the circular flow of income? So when there is excess of government budget, when there is excess of government expenditure, so this needs to be balanced by the leakage in the economy. So what is the leakage in the economy? Leakage in the economy is nothing but savings, but there is also an investment component. So the excess expenditure by the government is financed by the excess savings after meeting the investment need. So the implication is what? Implication is what? Implication is this, that when G minus T will rise, okay, that means when government budget deficit will rise, the I or the gross private investment component will fall. Only then you can generate excess of savings over investment, which will then be used to fund the government budget deficit. Fine. Now, so question 7. Present a circular flow diagram to show that the net value of output produced in an economy in an accounting year is identically equal to the net flow of income generated from the production process. So we will use the circular flow of income as using the two-sector economy with savings and investment. Okay. So in case of net, what is the net value of output? So net value of output is what? Net value of output is gross value, okay, minus depreciation, okay, minus indirect taxes. Now the net value of income is what? Net value of income is gross factored income minus personal taxes, okay, gross factored income minus personal taxes. So you have to show this thing in a circular flow diagram where there is household sector, business firms, and government. So this will be a bit different from the diagram that we have discussed, but try that. Question 8. Using a circular flow diagram, the economy shows that the sum of private investment and government expenditure equals the sum of savings and tax, which we have already shown. That is, you have to show this one. I plus G is equal to S plus sector economy diagram. Three sector economy diagram along with the equation. Along with the equations applicable. Question 9. What do you mean by injections into and leakages from the circular flow of income? Why is savings called a leakage and an investment called an injection? How do they affect the circular flow of income and expenditure in economy? So, here you'll have to discuss about the two-sector economy with savings and investment and explain according. Which one? Question 10. If business investment is less than household saving, will the circular flow of income be affected? If so, how? Be explicit in your assumption and statements that you make while answering the question. So here, S is greater than I. Okay? S is greater than I. That means S minus I is greater than 0. Okay? So this is when it can happen. Tridit, when this can happen, S minus I greater than 0. So this is question 10. When this can happen? When this can happen, Tridit?
Sir, this saving is greater than investment.
Yes, when it happens.
Sir, if there is an increase in interest rates, then people will save more.
I explained just now something. When S minus I can be greater than 0. So usually in circular flow of income, it always gets balanced. So when can that happen? It can happen only when you have a government sector. Do you remember this thing? That's why I said that I have done it just now.
Yes, sir.
G minus T equal to S minus I. So whenever G minus T is not equal to 0, then only you can have S minus I not equal to 0. Because I have said one thing, that S should always be equal to I. This is the identity which we have, okay, in case of a two-sector economy. That is, actual savings should always be equal to actual investment. But when it does not happen, that means what? Then there is some other sector which is the government sector, and government sector is running excessive expenditure over its net tax collections. That means government is running a budget deficit, and so to finance a budget deficit, there should be excess of savings over investment. Question 11. How do exports and imports and inflows and outflows of financial capital affect the circular flow of income? So now you have a fourth sector economy, y equal to c plus I plus g plus x minus m. Expenditure method, value added method, income method, c plus s plus t. So equate both sides. C plus I plus g plus x minus m equal to c plus s plus t. Fine. C cancel each other out. So we are left with what? G plus x minus m equal to s plus t. So we again rearrange the term. So we get what? So g plus s plus I. Okay. So g minus.
Sir, what about I?
Pardon?
I. Because
So
in the
I
second
is
step
there.
you just included G and
Yeah. C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus C plus S plus T. So C cancel each other out. So we take T on the left side. Okay. We are not taking. So first of all, we are cancelling. So that gives us what? That gives us G plus X minus M plus I, and here S plus T. Now we are taking T to the left side. So this is now G minus T. Okay. Plus X minus M. And we take I to the right side and write it as S minus I. So what is G minus T? What is G minus T?
Budget deficits.
What is X minus M?
Net export.
And S is excess of savings over investment. S minus I. Excess of savings over investment. Now, if S minus I is greater than 0, okay, S minus I is greater than 0. G minus T, so this is first situation, G minus T is less than 0 and X minus M is greater than 0. Sorry, G minus T is greater than 0. That means there is budget deficit. That means there is budget deficit and there is net exports. That means exports is greater than imports. So what happens when exports is greater than imports? So India is buying from the rest of the world and rest of the world is buying from India. So when X minus M is greater than 0, it means what? Rest of the world is borrowing from India to buy Indian goods. And how this borrowing is being financed? So when X minus M is greater than 0, that means when exports are greater than imports, then rest of the world will be borrowing from India to buy Indian goods, because they cannot finance the their excess expenditure on Indian goods with the sales receipts for their goods and services. That means the imports which India has made from them. So that time they need to borrow from India to buy the Indian goods. And how is this borrowing financed for the rest of the world? This borrowing is financed by this excess of savings over investment by the domestic individuals. So both budget deficit as well as net exports, that is excess of exports over imports, is financed by the savings, excess savings over investment by the domestic savers. Okay. Now, so this is case 1. Now case 2. So we are on page 7. Case 2. S minus I is greater than 0. G minus T is equal to 0. That is, budget is balanced. So obviously X minus M has to be greater than 0. So in that situation, the entire excess of savings over investment is used to finance the net exports, that is borrowing by the rest of the world to Indian goods. So this is case 2. Case 3. S minus I is greater than 0. G minus T is less than 0. And X minus M is greater than 0. So now what is happening when G minus T is less than 0, what happens? It means there is budget surplus. So budget surplus means what? Budget surplus means that there is government savings. That means both the private sector is saving as well as the government sector is saving. So both these private sector savings and government sector savings is now used to finance these net exports. Then comes your case 4. S minus I is greater than 0. X minus M is equal to 0. So G minus T has to be greater than 0. That means now the exports and imports are balanced. So there is no borrowing by the rest of the world. But there is budget deficit, which is entirely financed by the excess of savings over investment. Now case 5. S minus I is greater than 0. X minus M is less than 0. And G minus T is greater than 0. So what is happening? So now there is net imports. So when net imports happens, what happens? When net imports are there, India borrows from the rest of the world to buy the rest of the world goods. Okay, but still savings is greater. Savings S minus I is greater than 0. That means after borrowing from the rest of the world to buy the rest of the world goods, and the domestic savings, excess savings that has been generated is used to finance this budget deficit. Okay. Now I'll talk about a last case. So there can be several cases I'm explaining. I'm just enumerating some of them. Okay. G minus T is greater than 0. That means X minus M has to be less than 0. Now there is budget deficit. There is a deficit in savings. And there is excess imports. So now what is happening? India is now borrowing because there is also deficit in savings and there is budget deficit while there is excess imports. So India is now borrowing from the rest of the world to buy the rest of the world goods as well as to finance the budget deficit. So remember this thing, whenever in all these first two cases, that is case 1, then case 2, case 1, case 2, and case 3. So case 1 to case 3, there is net of financial capital. From India to the rest of the world. Now in case 4, when x minus m is equal to 0 but z minus 2, so there is net outflow of financial capital is 0. Now case 5, when s minus I is greater than 0, g minus 2 is greater than 0, and x minus m is less than 0. So there is net. So in both case 5 and case 6, case 5 and case 6, there is what? There is net inflow of rest of the world to India. Okay. So this is how I will put the answer for question number 11. Question number 12. Explain the statement. So it is nothing but you have to explain the statement that in an open economy, the sum of private investment, government spending, and net exports must equal to the sum of savings and taxes. Identify leakages and injection from this extended model, which I've already explained just some time back when explaining answer to question number. So this question only, that is question number 11. Question number 13. Which of the following transactions are included in the GDP and by how much? Does you buy a used bicycle paying rupees 2000 rupees? Will it raise the GDP? You buy a used bicycle paying rupees 2000. Used bicycle, will it raise the GDP?
No, sir.
Okay.
No,
Your
sir.
grandmother receives a pension of rupees 50,000 for the year. Will it raise the GDP?
Yes.
How? In exchange of GDP, is your grandmother providing any factor of production for any factors, supplying any factor for production of goods and services?
Oh, no, sir.
Then you sell a poster to your roommate for rupees 25.
No, sir.
Why?
It's a non-market transaction.
Why non-market transaction? You are already being paid 25 rupees. Also, how is it a non-market transaction? Four, Maruti manufactures 2000 automobiles at a cost of 2.5 lakh rupees each. Unable to sell 500 of them, it holds them as inventories. So out of 2000, 1500 are being sold. Okay. 1500 are being sold and 500 are not being sold. So if I go by the value added method, so value added method will give me what? Value added method will give me the value of the 2000 automobiles manufactured. Okay. And if I go by the expenditure method, so consumption expenditure method, 1500 automobiles plus 500 will come under what? Inventory investment. So in both the cases, the GDP will be raised by 2.5 lakh rupees multiplied by 2000 automobiles. Okay. Now, question 14 and question 15, page 61, chapter 2, end of the chapter assignments, question 14 and question 15. So I give you this as an assignment. Okay. I give this you as an assignment. Submit to me by tomorrow evening. That is by 6 p.m. tomorrow. Question 14, question 15. Assignment to be submitted tomorrow evening. Okay. So I'm done with today's discussion on questions and answers. Anything else? Tell me.
Sir, for this assignment, we have to draw the table or we can just write the answer.
No, you have to draw the table.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So thank you and have a nice day. I'll send the
Thank you,
recording.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you.
Yes.